Could there ever be a resolution to the rivalry between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader? One that could leave there being any kind of resolution for the victor of it? Or are they just doomed to never be able to finish each other off?
I think you and I are destined to do this forever.
Well, actually, Vader beat Old Ben in A New Hope. No. No. Look at this face here. Does this really look like the face of a guy who's defeated? No, this is Old Ben just giving up when he sees Luke so that he can make Luke think that Vader is killing him. And in a weird, twisted, very manipulative way, he's almost trying to save Luke's soul here, which it's all according to the plan for him. You can click on the card here for the full details on Old Ben's plan. But knowing how it ends for them, does it really offer any resolution? I mean, Vader has spent the last 19 years hating Obi-Wan and using that to fuel his power in the dark side, and he doesn't just want him to die or for him to defeat Obi-Wan, he wants him to suffer as he has suffered, and instead all he gets is confusion and fear as he has to wonder what this power is that Obi-Wan was speaking of that he can't possibly imagine. And Old Ben is no better. I mean, even in his death, he doesn't have peace because he's still working to defeat Vader. And yes, of course, part of that is him wanting to defeat the Sith and help Luke, but at the same time, you can't say things like this and tell me it's not at least a little bit about revenge.
He's more machine now than man.
So after their final conflict, there is no peace, and it's pretty easy to say why. I mean, these two were as close as brothers. They knew each other so well and meant so much to each other that they're never really going to be able to outgrow the attachment that they had. And that's before you consider how it ended, because Vader knows that he didn't kill Obi-Wan. He has to. You know, Luke may think so because of the angle for it, but Vader's got to know that his blade didn't pierce any part of Obi-Wan, so he's just going to be thinking about where is he? Is he still out there? Is he going to come back? And then Obi-Wan still has to know what Vader is doing. He still is holding on to his memories from the Force, so where normally death would be the end and at least you would have some form of peace, he has to live on knowing what the boy he trained has become. Because that attachment will always be there, and of course they would both deny this, but even at the end of the Kenobi show in the first season, Palpatine is trying to convince Vader to give up his search for his former master because he knows that it makes him weaker. Vader is at his best when he's cold and calculating, when he's a blunt instrument. He's at his strongest when his hatred is directed towards himself. And this self-hatred kind of makes him the perfect Sith apprentice because it's an unlimited source of power for him. Vader hates himself because he hates what he has become and what he had to give up for this life. He gave up everything for the dark side and got nothing in return. So when he does these terrible things, it's just a further reminder of that, and he hates himself even more, which makes him stronger. And the reason why I specify apprentice for Vader is because his self-hatred means that he's not going to try to overthrow Palpatine the same way that all Sith Lords try to kill each other. It's in the nature of the Sith for the apprentices to try to kill their masters, and for the masters to be ready for their apprentices to do so. But because Vader hates himself so much, he's never going to try to overthrow Palpatine, and the only times he even thinks about it are when Padme and Luke are involved, so it's not even as much about him wanting the unlimited power for himself, it's more about connection for him, which, for those of you who are also Potterheads, that's why Vader is secretly a Hufflepuff. Plugging another video up here if you want to see OG Star Wars characters sorted into Hogwarts houses. That's a fun video.
Nah, I don't really feel like it.
And these two are still very connected because while Vader has become the perfect Sith Lord in so many ways, Old Ben has become everything a Jedi is supposed to be. These two are the absolute peaks of the light and dark sides of the Force, at least when they're not going against each other. You don't have to look any further than Old Ben's final duel with Maul to see that. Because other than Vader and Sidious, nobody has taken more from Obi-Wan than Darth Maul has. You know, he's the one who killed his master, Qui-Gon Jinn. He's the one who killed the love of his life, Satine Wren. And these aren't things that he just gets over like it's nothing. When he first sees that Maul is still alive again in the Clone Wars TV show, he's cocky, really. I mean, he's telling him that he's just going to beat him again and giving one-liners, you know, just being the master of trolling that we all love, but it doesn't make him the perfect Jedi.
You know, when I cut you in half, I should have aimed for your neck instead.
But when they meet again in Rebels, old Ben is past all of it. You know, when he first sees Maul, the two of them just have a conversation. You know, he doesn't want to fight him until Maul figures out that he's protecting someone. So even then, it's not even about their rivalry anymore. It's just that he has to protect Luke. This is something he has to do. He doesn't want to do it, but Maul has forced his hand, and once he does, it really takes him no time at all. That's it. That's the whole fight right there. And you can see in Maul's reactions to it just how impressive it is, because he goes from, this is some rat in the desert, to, oh my god, I didn't stand a chance, to, if he's this good, then he has to be protecting the Chosen One. And just to be doing all that, like, this is the Jedi Master here, and because he is the Jedi Master, he doesn't lie to him or try to goad him or anything. He's just like, yes, I am protecting the Chosen One. He chooses to put aside their history. Yes, he knows that Maul was never his true enemy, but these two still have a ton of history together, and none of it's good, but he puts all of that aside to give a dying man one last comforting thought. Let's contrast this to the fight he has with Vader at the end of Season 1 of the Kenobi show, on the barren moon near Jabim. At the start of the fight, Obi-Wan is just thinking, hey, I'll get his attention, I'll protect this last pocket of rebellion, but by the end of it, he's able to overpower Vader and has him defeated. He could finish him off right here. He could save the galaxy, especially seeing just how terrible Vader has become after learning that he did survive their duel on Mustafar. But he can't, because even after everything Vader has done, as soon as Obi-Wan sees his face, he's talking to Anakin again. And he apologizes. He's spent years haunted by his failures, and he knows he was wrong in how he trained Anakin, that he could have done a better job with it, but Vader doesn't want to hear any of this, and in a twisted kind of, like, is this Anakin or Vader talking, he either takes credit for what Vader has become, or absolves Obi-Wan of the things that Anakin chose to do.
Then my friend is truly dead.
But if he really believed this, then he should have no problem finishing Vader off, because if no part of him believes this is Anakin, then this person sitting in front of him is a Sith Lord and the Empire's biggest enforcer. He's a very large threat, and Obi-Wan could save a lot of lives here if he just finishes the job. But Obi-Wan can't let go of the past. He still sees that little boy he agreed to train on Naboo all those years ago. And whether he's watching him burn on Mustafar, suffocate on this barren moon, or even when that's no moon, he never goes into a fight with Vader thinking that he's going to kill him. And Vader is the same way, whether it's because a small part of him still cares about his former master, or he cares so much about him that he wants him to suffer as much as Vader has suffered, whether it's, this need for revenge or approval or to prove that he's better than Obi-Wan. He's never going to feel what he wants to, and that's why he lets him go after he's burning him on the coals earlier in the Kenobi show, because it doesn't feel as good as he wants it to, so he's just thinking in his mind, oh, well, I need to make him suffer even more then, and, all he's really doing is putting off killing Obi-Wan. But no matter how he finishes off Obi-Wan, nothing will ever satisfy this need that he has. It's the same self-destructive cycle with Vader as it is with everything else, because let's say he kills Obi-Wan, then part of him is going to hate himself for doing that because he's doing it with anger in his heart, and this is him killing another part of Anakin Skywalker.
Strike me down in anger and I'll always be with you.
Uh-oh, I just used a sequels clip, and it made a lot of sense, too. This is pretty awkward.
And then sue me for this! Smoke bomb!
And that is why the only way this rivalry can really end is with Ben dying for Luke. Otherwise, these two would be doomed to battle each other forever because Obi-Wan will always see that little boy he agreed to train on Tatooine, and Vader will never be able to satisfy himself with the dark side, only trap himself further in it. And it's almost kind of a little interesting twist on neither can live while the other survives because neither can kill the other either. It's kind of interesting like that too for the Potterheads again if you've stuck around. But now I want to shift the question to you guys. Do you think that Obi-Wan and Vader would have been doomed to battle each other forever? Or was the only way that it could have ended with Ben dying for Luke, beyond the meta-ness of it all with that. But hey, also Darth Maul Shadow Lord is coming out today, so let me know if you guys want to see any reactions for that, or if you're excited for it. But that's all I got for you guys today, so if you enjoyed, drop a like, subscribe if you want more like this, and I'll see you next time on STV.